aftermath of the killing incident in Kajokeji County of Central Equatorial State have been released. Authorities in Pibor administrative area say heavy rains have rendered the main roads impassable, triggering a dire humanitarian situation in the area. And a member of the Sudan and South Sudan Joint Demarcation Committee, Ambassador Darius Gerengwol, has died aged 59. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Helen Samuel. Now, the news in detail. 3 civilians who were detained by security forces in the aftermath of the killing incident in Kajokeji County of Central Equatorial State have been released. Erasto Kenyi, the area commissioner, confirmed to iRadio this morning. Kenyi says the civilians were arrested after they were found near the crime scene of a slain SSPDF soldier on Thursday last week. They include Sadarak Taban, Jessica Kabang, and her 5-month-old baby. Commissioner Kenyi says another person is yet in detention, but the detainee is a soldier who will not be released until further investigation is completed. Kenyi explains to iRadio.
They were released yesterday around 2. The mother, the child, and one other. The other one is still in detention because according to the findings and the investigation that was taken by the investigator, the other guy was realized to be a soldier. So the civil approach and the soldier approach is a little bit different. So the soldier said this man has to wait because he decided some days back, and at the end of the day he was arrested in that incident, in which they wanted also to find out whether he was actually going with the virtue order or he just is nicked. The 3 were released. Well, yesterday we were like to take statements from the civilians so that they are released. So the perpetrator, the investigation is also going on.
Last week, 3 civilians were reportedly killed by an SSPDF unit in Kajokeji County in what appeared to be a revenge killing. The soldiers executed 2 teenagers and a middle-aged man after they found the body of their colleague who died under mysterious circumstances. Commissioner Kenyi further revealed that the 6 soldiers detained in the alleged execution would be transferred to Juba upon the completion of an investigation. Meanwhile, the Chief of Defense Forces has asked the Central Equatorial State Governor to form a joint committee to investigate the Kajokeji incident in which 3 civilians were allegedly killed by SSPDF soldiers last week. In a statement to iRadio, the SSPDF spokesman says his boss, General Santino Dengwol, wrote a letter to the governor of Central Equatorial State, Emmanuel Adil Anthony, to form the committee. This is because the incident falls within the state jurisdiction, the letter claims. Major General Lurai Kong says the proposed committee will comprise SSPDF's Directorate of Military Intelligence, National Security, and the National Police. A member from Central Equatorial State will also have to be included in the committee. The team will be tasked to independently investigate the circumstances surrounding the incident. General Lul says once the proposed joint fact-finding committee is formed, it will be dispatched to the killing scene in Kiriboma. He spoke to iRadio this morning.
Over the weekend, some pictures circulated on social media alleging that the SSPDF soldiers had killed 8 civilians in Kajokeji, and it came to the attention of leadership of the SSPDF, and as a result, the defense forces wrote a letter proposing for formation of joint fact-finding committee to be sent to Kajokeji to go and do their own investigation and find out the circumstances under which those civilians who were killed and who exactly was responsible for their killings. Well, the proposal was written to Honorable Governor of Central Equatorial State, Emmanuel Adil Anthony, and the Chief of Defense Forces also requested that some representatives from Central Equatoria must be on the committee because the incident occurred in Kejekeji County, which is one of the 6 counties of Central Equatoria.
The Army's decision comes after the National Assembly approved the formation of a committee drawing representatives from the House's specialized committees to investigate the incident last Thursday. When contacted on the directive, the press secretary of the governor, Emmanuel Adil, confirmed receiving the letter, but the governor is yet to respond to the call. Authorities in the Pibor administrative area say heavy rains have rendered the main roads impassable, triggering a dire humanitarian situation in the area. John Joseph Aboluk, who is the deputy chief of the administrative territory, says humanitarian and commercial supplies to the area have been cut off by heavy rains since May. He stated that dozens of trucks carrying relief and commercial supplies were stuck on muddy roads for a month in the terrains of Gumurok, forcing some of them to return to Juba. Abuluk told iRadio that civilians are living in an unimaginable situation. This is as there are no medical supplies and the markets have run out of stock.
The surviving of the entire population of GPA that are living under really indescribable situation. There is not enough medical supply, there is not enough food, and there is no anything there in the area. You know, in Greater Upper Nile, during rainy season, the vehicle cannot move. That was the main reason that led the food could not reach to the needy population. Immediately, heavy rain came in, and the whole vehicle is stuck in the desert for almost a month. So that is the main problem that led the traders not to deliver food there. Around 40-something truck stuck in the mud between Gumruk and Aying stream. For some of them, they arrived. For some, they got back to Juba.
The official says the healthcare in the area is near collapse and that most of the sick have no option but to nurse their illnesses at home. Insecurities and seasonal flooding have often restricted access to the landlocked administrative area as the feeder roads become muddy. This news is coming to you from iRadio. A member of the Sudan and South Sudan Joint Demarcation Committee, Ambassador Darius Garang Wal Mabior, has died at the age of 59. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation announced Wal's demise on its social Facebook page last evening. It said Ambassador Darius succumbed to a short illness yesterday morning. Until his death, Wal served as Grade 1 ambassador after he was promoted in 2016. In 2017, he was made the deputy head of the South Sudan mission to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The same year, he was recalled by the ministry where he became the Director of International Law and Treaties before taking over as the Director General of Bilateral Relations. While serving the various positions, late Ambassador Darius remained an active member of the South Sudan Joint Demarcation Committee. And lastly, before the international news, police in Mundri East County of Western Equatoria State have released a teenager who was arrested as a way to lure her fugitive father. Last week, Sergeant Nathania Baya, who is the crime office in Mundri East, said they arrested and held hostage the 13-year-old girl after her father escaped from police custody last year. The minor's father had been in detention for failing to pay compensation. Last year, the girl's father, Simon Letty, was fined £1.5 million to compensate for the crime of his son, who allegedly damaged the eye of a soldier during a fight. The son in question fled the area and police were unable to arrest him, so they resorted to apprehending his father, who pledged to pay the amount. Since then, Leti managed to pay only 400,000 South Sudanese pounds, which is less than a third of the amount before he escaped from police detention. Margaret Fozia, the commissioner of Mundri East County, confirmed the release of the girl to iRadio. Commissioner Fozia said she ordered the police in the area to release the little girl despite her father's escape.
The brother of that girl beat SSPDF and the eye is broken. And so the father was caught because the son ran away. So the father also ran away from the prison. They went to look for the father, they didn't. That's why they found the girl and they took the girl. So that the father can come and say that my daughter is here, I came for my daughter, but he didn't. So I asked the police to release the girl and they have released her. The girl has been released. I told the policeman and I ordered the policeman, the police in charge and ordered, and the girl was removed yesterday.
However, Sergeant Bayer had earlier said the girl was innocent and that the police were using her to lure her father into another detention. Arbitrary arrest and detention of family members is a common practice in many customary laws across the country. In September last year, a 50-year-old woman in Yirol of Lakes State was arrested after her son, who was wanted for murder and cattle theft, escaped arrest. You're listening to iRadio News, and now to the international scene, brought to you by MTN.
Mata tofu buzak fi mahalan.
Aku, itu sir sekolah monyoke. Itu pikir bapa memiskol. Itu lista memiskol. Anna fi huria ya jak huria bunesia. MTN udilena huria taduku fi ailon ta shabakalan nader. Be kurus besit besi aku. Dia tu dek kaman. Aku huria de besi bunas ma bekara bu kurus fi resitani. Asa kurus asa sama guru bude ana gura fata maltani fi custom, maltani fi gumbo, maltani fi konyo. Maltani fi news ana bitala kaniani aku. Ashalite bistamta be huria de bez dusu nejma wahe sifir nejma tarata nejma arba usilim wenda biliko kamis touch de giga be mia jinebes ukamante la tim de giga be mia kamse jinebes fi yom kabel wallahi de huria asli wallahi de huria ya.
And now Dor Penina is here with the stories from the international arena. Good afternoon, Doru.
Mali has denied allegation in UN report that its national army carried out human rights violations. A report by the country's UN mission, MINUSMA, released last week highlighted alleged gross rights abuses by the Malian army between January and March this year. It attributed to farmer and exponential rise in abuses, including exclusions and forced disappearance, in its quarter report on 26 May. On Wednesday, Mali's Foreign Affairs Minister accused a memo offering detailed rebuttals to various parts of the UN report. Finally, the World Health Organization says 7 African countries have cumulatively reported about 1,400 monkeypox cases this year up to mid-May. These include 1,392 suspected and 44 confirmed cases. The cases were reported in Cameroon, Central African Republic, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Liberia, Nigeria, Congo-Brazzaville, Sierra Leone. The number of cases this year are slightly fewer than half of cases reported the last year. That is the end of the international news, and back to you, Helen.
Thank you, Doru Penina, for the roundup of stories from the international arena. And now to the sports desk with Moyo Jacob.
Thank you, Helen Samuel. Ramden will host a World Cup playoff semi-final between Scotland and Ukraine on Wednesday in a game given global attention by Russia's invasion. Scotland are aiming to reach their first men's World Cup in 24 years, while Ukraine are hoping to add to their one appearance in 2006. But their preparations have been disrupted by the ongoing conflict in their homeland, which led to the fixture being delayed from its original date in March. England will play their Nations League group match against Hungary in Budapest on Saturday with at least 30,000 fans in attendance, even though the fixture is being held behind closed doors. Hungary have been ordered to play games without crowds after racist behavior by their fans. But their football association is using a UEFA regulation that allows children to attend accompanied by an adult. And the Hungarian FA has had 30,000 children registered for Saturday's game. And finally, Rafael Nadal demonstrated once again why he is the greatest player in French Open history by beating longtime rival Novak Djokovic in a late-night thriller to reach the men's singles semi-finals. Nadal, going for a 14th title, started superbly and fought off resistance from defending champion Djokovic to win 6-2, 4-6, 6-2, 7-6, and 7-4 at Roland Garros. Nadal secured victory at 1:15 a.m. local time after over 4 hours on court. The 21-time Grand Slam winner now faces third seed Alexander Zverev on Friday. End of iRadio Sports News, and back to you, Ellen Samuel, in the studio.
Thank you, Moyo Jacob, for the roundup of stories of the sports news. You're listening to iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, here are the headlines once again. Three civilians who were detained by security forces in the aftermath of the killing incident in Kajokeji County of Central Equatorial State have been released. Authorities in the Pibor administrative area say heavy rains have rendered the main roads impassable, triggering a dire humanitarian situation in the area. And a member of the Sudan and South Sudan Joint Demarcation Committee, Ambassador Darius Garangwal, has died aged 59. And that's the end of iRadio Afternoon News. You can get these stories and updates by subscribing to iRadio News Alerts on your MTN South Sudan number. Call 700 or dial star 700 hash and follow the instructions. If there is a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287 870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on Twitter at iRadio Juba. Like our Facebook page, iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1:30 the hour. I'm Helen Samuel. Thank you for listening.
متى تفوق زاك في محل
Huria, taduku fi kailon ta shabaka lanadar. Be kurus be sit be